South East Radio's morning mix.
Alan Corcoran.
Chat, news and your views.
200 jobs announced for the South East. Scoured the papers, scoured the wires today to find out where the jobs for Wexford, to discover there weren't any.
Just to put this into context, Alan, the job announcement in Kilkenny is with an existing company that's located there for many, many years, Cartoon Saloon, and they have tied up a strategic relationship with Canada's Mercury Film Works. So the jobs being created there are not new jobs that are being brought to that area by the IDA or Enterprise Ireland. It's easy to come out and to make headlines with big job numbers in terms of 140 for Kilkenny and 60 for Waterford. Those jobs are not coming on stream immediately. Those jobs are planned to come on stream over the next 4 years. So you might have 10, 15 or 20 of those jobs coming on stream this year, with the remainder planned.
So is it government sensationalism then, or what is it?
So the companies have plans, and those plans are not short term. They're not for 1 year, but instead they're for 3, 4 and 5 years. And these are estimates in terms of what type of job creation will come out of each of these alliances.
Youth unemployment at an epidemic stage here in Wexford. 47% of our 17 to 24-year-olds without work. What is the Chamber doing to reduce this?
Wexford Chamber is working with many of the state agencies that exist here in Wexford. So Wexford Local Development does a lot of work with the youth. Also rehab care, employability, youth train and youth reach. We provide their youth with an opportunity to get their foot in the door of employers by providing work experience opportunities with our 270 strong membership. Also, we're currently calling for more apprenticeships to be offered in Wexford, and there's 27 craft apprenticeships across the construction sector, and there's 13 new apprenticeships. So there's 40 apprenticeships in theory out there that the youth can actually complete. However, in Wexford, you can only complete one apprenticeship, and that's electrical.
And why is that?
One organisation will tell us the reason for it is because the ETBs, the Education and Training Boards, they specialise in particular areas. So Wexford specialism is electrical, Waterford specialism is something else. Someone else tells me that the reason for it is that the investment hasn't gone into the ETB Training Centre in Wexford.
Just again clarify ETB first.
Education and Training Board, formerly known as the VEC, Vocational Education Committee. When FOSS disbanded and SOLAS was set up, the responsibility for apprenticeships was passed over onto the ETBs.
And it's left us here with one
apprenticeship. So I think that's a major problem in the county, and if we can tackle that and overcome it, it will open up an awful lot of opportunities for our youth. Because if, for instance, anyone today in Wexford that's unemployed between the age of 17 and 24, in my personal opinion, apprenticeships are the solution to youth unemployment in County Wexford. But in order for any of our youth to complete an apprenticeship, anything except for electrical, so whether it's plumbing or carpentry or financial services, any of the new apprenticeships, which range from hospitality to software to accountancy to insurance, engineering and telecom, they will have to leave our county to do so. In some cases, they'll have to go to Waterford, Kilkenny. In other areas, they'll have to go to Dublin and Cork.
So you'd like them to come here. So where would you put them?
Well, we have the ETB Training Centre. That's up in Whitemill. That needs investment, and possibly we need to move that to a larger centre with the relevant technologies to be in a position to be able to offer those apprenticeships here on our doorstep in County
Where would
Wexford.
that be? Is St. Senan's a possible option?
I wouldn't think St. Senan's is a possible option, because the big issue with St. Senan's is there's a preservation order on that particular building, and to retrofit that building would be far in excess of the cost of developing on a greenfield site.
So where ideally a new build?
There's a number of facilities in Whitemill Industrial Estate, some of them up to 50,000 square feet, that have been empty for many, many years.
Let's move on. Minister for Public Expenditure Pascal Donoghue met with a group of people here in Wexford Town, business people, and indeed I believe he covered the entire county. What issues were raised at the meeting with the Minister?
I suppose firstly, just to give you a background to that particular meeting, Michael Darcy organised the meeting for Pascal Donoghue to come to Wexford on that particular day. The meeting itself was hosted by James O'Connor in Greenacres. I chaired that particular meeting, and there was over 30 business people that attended. The purpose of the meeting itself was to outline the major challenges that are holding Wexford back as a county. So during that particular meeting, each of the individual 30 business people had an opportunity to raise their particular issue, or indeed an opportunity that they felt was in line for County Wexford. So the Minister himself responded by saying that he wasn't aware of a lot of the issues that were facing the county, so it was a valuable meeting from that perspective alone. But when we asked him what the next step was in relation to taking action in relation to these issues,
what did he say?
What he did say to us was that the capital programme 2016 to 2020 2021 is currently under review and that a public consultation will be held over the coming months, and he urged us to develop a submission and to submit it to him in relation to the high priority projects for investment.
Has he got the money, Karl? I mean, I've just read an article in the Irish Independent today which would seem to indicate that he's clutching at straws, that he has very little money at his disposal.
He has money for priority projects that will get results.
But has he got enough?
I think he does. We're not looking for hundreds of millions here, Alan. I think that in relation to the type of submission that we would be putting in, we would be realistic. We would be looking at it from the perspective of saying, here's a specific initiative and here's a specific project that we want funding for. And if you can deliver it to us, here's the results that we're going to get from it. So it's going to be very much measurable, and it's going to be based on a business case, a very robust business case.
Realistically, hand on heart, do you think he's going to deliver, or is it more waffle?
I think that he will deliver if the Chamber, the business community and the local authority do put the work into developing a submission in relation to a number of key priority areas. And we can prove to him in no uncertain terms that if we get investment for County Wexford in those particular areas, we will end up in a situation where it will reduce unemployment. Now, looking at areas like Rosslare Europort, they came up, and the rail line came up at that particular meeting, and he said quite categorically he doesn't have the money to invest in Rosslare Europort, and his preference would be for it to go to a concession agreement for a private operator to take it over. So he was quite candid in relation to that. He also spoke about the University for the South East. He said it's making no headway in that respect. He spoke about the rail line, and he felt that the rail line didn't deserve the investment that was needed.
When I hear that disappointed him, he is in the ministerial position. Disappoint me backside. It's about time that he got up off his backside and did something.
Now, what he's saying, Alan, in relation to the rail line is that only 2% of people in this country travel by rail.
Yes.
So he said it's poor value for money from a taxpayer perspective. So in relation to the rail line itself, he left in no uncertain terms knowing that the rail line was vital to the future of Wexford, because we rely on it not just from a business perspective but also from a tourism perspective, and that's something that opened his eyes to that during that meeting.
Well, he has several protests coming down the track. If you look at social media in Wexford over the weekend, there's an escalation of protest about to happen concerning our rail lines. Finally, just a brief note on the IDA, because really until they start delivering, I don't really entertain what they're offering at the moment, because they're offering very little.
Tom Enright has made this point a number of times. The reason that the IDA are not bringing jobs to Wexford is because we do not have purpose-built facilities that are available for their clients. When an IDA company gets off a flight from the US or elsewhere, and 40% of the investment is coming from the US, which is a separate issue now with Trump, of course, but when those companies get off a flight, they want to be brought to locations where they can see a purpose-built facility, whether that's an office block or whether that's an advanced factory unit, identify what needs to be done to it before they can move in. Now, in relation to the IDA, we're not going to see any real movement from an IDA perspective until such time as we have those facilities.
And where's the onus to provide those facilities?
The onus is on government, and the government have ring-fenced €150 million under their investment programme 2017 to 2019, and this will see the construction of 9 new advanced buildings in Tralee, Castlebar, Sligo, Limerick, Dundalk, Galway, Athlone, Carlow and Waterford.
Right.
Now, what that means is that the earliest that the IDA can invest in Wexford is 2020, which is 3 years away. So what the County Council have been doing in the meantime is purchasing land banks here themselves and getting planning permission to put advanced factory facilities in place. So as soon as we have those facilities here, we will be in a position then to reach out to the IDA, and they'll have no reason but to bring companies here. Can I also say, Alan, that the IDA companies account for 200,000 jobs in Ireland out of a total pool of 2 million jobs, so 10% of the employment. However, if you look at the IDA budget from government each year, it's in the region of €140 million. Now, if you look at the LEO budget, the Local Enterprise Office budget, which is there to support SME type businesses, their budget is just over 20 million. So looking at that alone, there's far more money needs to be invested in the supports for SMEs, because ultimately it's the SMEs that are going to drive this economy on. They need far more support than what they're getting today.
South East Radio's morning mix.
Alan Corcoran.
Chat, news and your views.